Jamal Warner, best known and beloved for his groundbreaking role.
Malcolm Jamal Warner, once a face that lit up American living rooms every Thursday night, vanished in a single devastating headline. On July 20th, 2025, Hollywood froze. Warner, best remembered as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show, was gone, drowned in a shocking accident off the shores of Costa Rica. But death was only the beginning, because what surfaced after his funeral sent shockwaves far deeper than anyone could have imagined. The discovery wasn't just personal, it was explosive. Hidden inside a private archive Malcolm guarded for decades were treasures of his life, rare family photos, handwritten letters filled with raw emotion, and career keepsakes the world had never seen. But tucked among the nostalgia were coded notes, strange messages hinting at a life filled with secrets. And buried within them was a revelation so explosive, it changes everything we thought we knew about him. From the gritty streets of Jersey City to the blinding lights of Hollywood, Warner's secret collection told the story of a man who was chasing more than fame. His keepsakes revealed not just a star, but a seeker of truth, a man carrying both glory and shadows. This wasn't a scrapbook. It was a confession, a roadmap of his private battles and the double life behind his public smile. Malcolm's journey began August 18th, 1970, in Jersey City, an era when America was shaking from cultural change. Even his name carried destiny. Malcolm after Malcolm X, the fearless revolutionary. Jamal after Ahmed Jamal, the master of jazz. His birth wasn't just an event. It was the beginning of a story already scripted in fire and legacy. His mother, Pamela Warner, saw that spark before the world ever did. She dreamed big, demanded discipline, and shaped her son with tough love and relentless guidance. After his parents split, Pamela became everything: protector, mentor, manager. In a small home with no luxury, she forged him into a force. While other kids played outside, Malcolm rehearsed in the mirror, embodying every character he saw on screen. By 7 years old, he was already chasing the craft. Acting classes, auditions, and eventually enrollment at New York Professional Children's School, a launchpad for prodigies. While classmates were buried in textbooks, Malcolm was cutting his teeth on real stages by 1979. At 9, he was already booking commercials, children's theater, and soaking up every ounce of experience that would sharpen him into a star. Then came 1984, the year his life detonated. NBC launched casting for a new sitcom, The Cosby Show. Hundreds of kids wanted the part of Theo Huxtable. But when 13-year-old Malcolm walked into that room, the competition was over. His charisma, wit, and natural charm didn't just land him the role. It reshaped television forever. The Cosby Show became more than a hit. It was a cultural revolution. Malcolm wasn't just acting. He was becoming America's big brother. Every Thursday night, millions tuned in to see his smile, his missteps, his lessons. By 16, he was already making history, scoring an Emmy nomination while balancing grueling filming schedules and stacks of homework. The pressure that could have broken anyone else only fueled him further. Offstage, Malcolm found a different voice. Behind the spotlight, he discovered music, his secret escape. Picking up the bass guitar, he dove into the worlds of jazz, funk, and R&B. When the cameras turned off, he slipped into New York's underground clubs, soaking in the sound of legends who had no idea a TV star was learning at their feet. By day, he was a sitcom icon. By night, a student of music, building the foundation of an artistic identity far removed from Hollywood scripts. For Malcolm, art wasn't just a career anymore. It was therapy, survival, and the search for his truest self. Malcolm's teenage years ran like a double life. By daylight, he was a Jersey kid juggling books and chores. By night, he stepped into Hollywood's blinding spotlight. Through the chaos, one voice always cut through: his mother, Pamela. Her warning never changed. Don't lose yourself to fame. Stay grounded. Stay real. Those words became his armor, keeping him from the same pitfalls that swallowed so many other child stars. Inside his unearthed archive, the proof was there in fragments. A tiny Malcolm clutching a bass guitar nearly as tall as he was. A wrinkled ticket stub from an Ahmed Jamal concert, a night Pamela insisted he witness. And the most touching of all, a scribbled note before his 1984 audition. No matter the outcome, you've already made me proud. These keepsakes weren't just mementos. They were the blueprint of a boy chasing destiny while never letting go of his roots.
There should be a moratorium on both of those words in hip-hop because it's low-lying fruit. It's so easy. Everybody does it to the point that it's corny. Like there are MCs who I love, who I cannot listen to anymore because I love J. Cole, but I had to stop listening to J. Cole because I got tired of hearing and
as much as
every two sentences because he's proven himself to be such a incredible lyricist
that you think it's just too low-hanging fruit for him to use those words.
From Jersey City sidewalks in 1970 to the set of The Cosby Show, Malcolm Jamal Warner became sewn into America's cultural fabric. Fans watched his growth unfold in real time, week after week. But the rediscovered archive decades later wasn't just a trip down memory lane. It was a time capsule that reminded the world why Malcolm's presence mattered, because he gave everything to the culture and helped shape a generation. In 1984, that blueprint turned into a phenomenon. The Cosby Show launched September 20th and ran until April 30th, 1992. 8 seasons, 197 episodes. A near decade of domination on television. Viewers literally watched Malcolm transform, from the awkward teen in oversized sweaters to the confident young man walking into adulthood. He didn't just play Theo. He lived it in front of millions. But fame came with a trap. For 8 years, Malcolm embodied America's big brother. The success gave him money, awards, and even that 1986 Emmy nomination. But it also threatened to cage him forever in Theo's shadow. Warner refused to be boxed in. Even before the final credits rolled, he was already steering a career in new directions, refusing to let Hollywood write his ending for him. He jumped behind the camera, directing episodes of the show. He hosted specials aimed at young audiences. He tested projects that broke away from the squeaky clean Huxtable image. So when The Cosby Show ended in 1992, Malcolm didn't cling to nostalgia. He reinvented. 4 years later, he returned with Malcolm and Eddie alongside Eddie Griffin, a chaotic, electric duo that let him prove he was more than a sitcom relic. That chemistry cracked open a new chapter. Malcolm and Eddie ran strong from 1996 to 2000, carving out 4 seasons of fresh comedy. The world saw a different Warner, fearless, hilarious, and unshackled from the Huxtable name. Behind the scenes, he sharpened his directing, mastering rhythm, timing, and the art of pulling laughs from everyday chaos. He wasn't just surviving post-Cosby life. He was thriving in it. But Warner wasn't built to sit still. As the 2000s rolled in, he chased roles with grit and weight. From the survivalist drama of Jeremiah, 2002 to 2004, to the heartfelt read Between the Lines, 2011, and later the hard-hitting Major Crimes, 2015. Warner kept redefining himself. Every role chipped away at the box Hollywood tried to trap him in, proving he could carry layers far beyond Theo Huxtable. Still, music remained his heartbeat. With his band Miles Long, he poured soul into jazz, funk, and spoken word. The small clubs where he played might not have matched TV sets in size, but the energy was undeniable. Acting was his paycheck, but music was his confession. That passion reached its peak in 2015, when he joined Robert Glasper and Layla Hathaway for a performance that would win a Grammy. That win didn't just silence doubters, it crowned him as a true artist. By 2018, he was reinventing yet again. On Fox's The Resident, Warner became Dr. A.J. Austin, sharp, commanding, and light years from Theo. Audiences didn't just see a former child star. They witnessed a powerhouse stepping into a new generation's memory. This wasn't revival. This was rebirth. Malcolm had shattered the chains of nostalgia and stepped fully into mastery. He didn't just perform. He built, producing, directing, and later embracing the digital era with his podcast Not All Hood. Warner found yet another lane. By 2024, the show was a hit, his personal megaphone where he unpacked culture and society with raw honesty. Then came July 18th, 2025, his last episode upload. 2 days later, tragedy struck. What was once another podcast suddenly became a memorial, replayed endlessly as his final words to the world. The statistics only scratched the surface. 4 decades in the spotlight, 30-plus credits, Emmy nods, a Grammy, and projects spanning every medium. His archive filled in the rest, Grammy tickets, Malcolm and Eddie snapshots, faded contracts, letters from his mother. Together, they told the story of resilience, reinvention, and survival. Malcolm Jamal Warner didn't just endure Hollywood. He mastered it. By 2025, Malcolm's net worth stood near $6 million, a staggering climb for a man who began as a child actor. The Cosby Show had given him a financial launchpad with blockbuster paychecks across its historic run. But Warner didn't just coast on syndication. He stacked earnings from Malcolm and Eddie, Read Between the Lines, and The Resident. Residuals, reruns, and streaming royalties kept pouring in. And when the music check started rolling after his Grammy win, his empire expanded even further. What stunned fans most wasn't the money itself, but the strategy. Unlike so many young stars who burned through millions, Malcolm built carefully, quietly. No flashy cribs, no car fleets, no Vegas meltdowns. His archive revealed property deeds, royalty slips, even indie film investments. He was planting seeds, not just chasing checks. He built foundations designed to stand long after his name stopped trending. But within those same files lay the most guarded secret of all. Hidden among contracts and royalty papers was proof of the life Malcolm shielded most fiercely, his wife, his daughter, his sanctuary from fame. This wasn't secrecy born of scandal, it was principle. Warner gave the world his craft, but refused to sacrifice the people who gave his life meaning. His silence was his protection, his privacy a manifesto. In 2015, through a friend, he met a Connecticut lawyer. No red carpets, no PR stunts, just a friendship that turned into something unshakable. On a podcast years later, Warner confessed he told her everything. No filters, no masks. By 2016 or 2017, the two exchanged vows in silence, no headlines, no Hollywood glitter. It wasn't performance. It was sacred, a promise to keep his family off the stage. That promise deepened on July 2nd, 2017, when his daughter was born. For once, Malcolm cracked the curtain, sharing a black and white photo holding her in his arms with the caption, "Peaceful time with family takes on a whole new meaning." After that, he went silent again. Mentions of family became whispers, a weekend at home, a lesson taught, a moment cherished. Never names, never faces. Protection was the point. Before he found that peace, Malcolm's love life had been Hollywood fodder. His most famous relationship was with Cosby Show co-star Michelle Thomas. Their romance ended, but their bond never did. When Michelle battled stomach cancer in 1998, Malcolm stood by her side until her final breath. Years later, he wrote, "If there was ever an angel who walked among us, this woman was it." That scar never healed. After Michelle, he spent 7 years with another Cosby alum, Karen Molina White. Rumors of marriage swirled, but both denied them. Their connection was real, but without the paperwork. Then came Regina King. Malcolm and Regina had known each other since the 80s, and by 2011, they became Hollywood's golden couple. But by Valentine's Day 2013, it all shattered. Regina revealed she was blindsided by the breakup. Flowers arrived with a note, "I still love you, Regina." She threw them away. Malcolm stayed silent. Professionally, Warner was fighting his own battle, Theo Huxtable's ghost. For years, he feared being trapped by the role that made him famous. His answer was reinvention, directing episodes, launching Malcolm and Eddie, chasing dramatic roles like Jeremiah, Read Between the Lines, and Major Crimes. And eventually, Dr. A.J. Austin in The Resident, proof he was more than just America's sitcom son. But the hardest storm came with Bill Cosby's scandal. Practically overnight, the Huxtable legacy collapsed. Malcolm was untouched by the accusations, yet the fallout hit him all the same. "It's heartbreaking to see something once so pure in people's hearts become tarnished," he admitted. Then, like always, he stepped back. No messy interviews, no exploitation. Just silence, focus, and craft. Music carried him through. His band Miles Long dropped albums, fused genres, and packed clubs. And when he joined Robert Glasper and Layla Hathaway in 2015, their track Jesus' Children won a Grammy. That wasn't a novelty award, it was validation. Warner wasn't dabbling in music. He was respected, cemented as an artist in both worlds. He lived by 3 rules: control your story, protect your family, seize your own voice. Interviews stayed on the work, not the gossip. Weekends were sacred, spent at home, not parties. And in 2024, he launched Not All Hood, his podcast, his pulpit. Fans devoured every word, calling it his truest self. Then came July 18th, 2025, his final upload. 2 days later, tragedy struck. What began as a family vacation turned into horror. On July 20th, Malcolm entered the waters of Playa Cocos with his daughter. A rip current dragged him under. Locals rushed in, pulling his daughter to safety. But Malcolm was swept out, pulled farther and farther until rescuers reached him too late. CPR failed. The coroner confirmed drowning. No foul play. Family sources said he passed quickly, without suffering, a small mercy in a sea of grief. Disbelief spread faster than the tide itself. Fans couldn't process how a man so disciplined, so athletic, could vanish to a rip current without warning. Whispers took over. Some blamed hidden health issues. Others went darker, linking his drowning to the sudden unlocking of that secret archive. Online, conspiracy chatter exploded, twisting grief into suspicion. His mother, Pamela Warner, fought back hard. My son died in an unexpected accident. There was no foul play, only heartbreak. Still, unease clung to every headline. His abrupt death, the timing of the archive, his lifelong silence about certain things. Alone, they meant nothing. Together, they formed a haunting riddle. How does a man with fresh projects, a steady family, and a life still in motion vanish in minutes beneath the waves? His family's private funeral brought no closure, no cameras, no speeches, just raw grief and unbearable quiet. But the archive wouldn't stay buried. Inside were tender photos, private letters to his wife, and notes scribbled with warnings like protect what matters most. These weren't scandals. They were blueprints of how he lived, balanced, guarded, fiercely loyal. Yet online, the truth drowned under rumor. Overnight, grief mutated into wild conspiracies, and Warner's lifelong silence turned into fuel for speculation he never asked for. Some fans insisted the archive carried more than memories, that it held damning truths about the Cosby Show itself. They tied it to the years before and after Bill Cosby's empire collapsed, pointing to Malcolm's own admission of being heartbroken as the Huxtable image crumbled. Whispers grew of diaries, hidden documents, and revelations that could shake Hollywood if they ever surfaced. Then came the obsession with his private life. The wife almost never seen. The child kept out of the spotlight. Gossip blogs ran wild, claiming the archive was stacked with family photos and secrets meant to rewrite the public narrative about him. Grainy, leaked, images began circulating, but none were verified. Smoke without fire, rumor without proof. And just when the theories seemed maxed out, they escalated. Internet sleuths claimed Warner had been crafting a tell-all memoir, maybe even a documentary, meant to expose Hollywood's darkest corners. His podcast, Not All Hood, had hinted at untold stories. The timing, they argued, was too perfect. Was he silenced before speaking? Or was it all a cruel coincidence? But fantasy eventually hit a wall of fact. The Costa Rican coroner's report was brutally clear. Warner drowned. No toxins, no bruises, no foul play, just water and tragedy. His family, especially Pamela, begged fans to stop feeding lies, calling the conspiracies cruel distractions from their grief. Outlets like People and Variety backed the truth. The archive held keepsakes, contracts, and music sheets, not bombs waiting to explode. Still, speculation runs faster than fact. And when a man so deeply tied to America's cultural memory disappears overnight, fans cling to conspiracies rather than face the final sting of loss. But here's the truth. Malcolm Jamal Warner's real mystery wasn't hidden in boxes. It was in how he lived. Grounded when others lost their way. Guarding low when fame tried to strip it away. His legacy isn't Theo Huxtable. It isn't the Emmy nomination or even the Grammy. What he leaves behind is bigger, a lesson in living authentically, loving fiercely, and protecting what matters most. Maybe his story feels unfinished. Maybe the questions will never stop. But maybe that's the point. Sometimes silence is more than spectacle ever could.